Hey guys, so I finally managed to watch this season's last two episodes of The Gifted, and I'm now going to, be making a video of them. And I apologize for the lateness of this. It's just, it took me a while to watch both of these. A lot of stuff has been going on. So, anyways, I watched these two episodes tonight, and I'm now going to be making a video. As per usual, it's going to be, a summary video of the episodes and my personal highlights. And off and on, you'll see me looking at my little notebook because I just watched this tonight. Anyways, episode 12, Extraction. And here we see that Dr. Campbell is hoping to distribute the Hound program on a national scale. And he wants to do this at a anti-mutant summit. And we're shown that 4 years ago, his brother, Jed, is suffering from a severe illness. And we see how this affects Campbell and how, it makes him feel and so on. We see him talk to a group of people about the evolution of mankind, and he loops this into the arrival of mutants and how they may be a group that is going to supplant the current human race. And he's very much against this. We go to the present day where, the Mutant Underground is working with the Stepford Cuckoos. And they're at odds with each other, of course. But they're all, talking about this anti-mutant summit, which is, called Humanity Today, which very much reminds me of, previous, anti-mutant groups, such as Friends for Humanity, that we've seen in the various X-Men comics and cartoons and so on. Of course, with Friends of Humanity, the name, initials FOE, was kind of deliberate and on the nose. But anyways, the mutants are talking about this summit. Meanwhile, the Struckers are settling back in. They're not, of course, being totally accepted again, but they're still settling back in. Meanwhile, Blink is talking to Thunderbird about how she was once a criminal, because Esme revealed this. And Blink was once one of the Brotherhood, and, Thunderbird's a bit upset about this, that she hid her past. Meanwhile, Campbell has people researching the looking for Otto Strucker's research on mutants, and Reed is also trying to do the same by looking into his father's notes, because there's information there that they both need. Meanwhile, Polaris and Eclipse are still at odds with each other. They're still, in a disagreement, especially because of the Stepford Cuckoos coming in. Well, Andy, he's still pretty much also at odds, and he's studying, reviewing the past of the Fenris and, and what they did. And, his sister is very much worried about him, and they're at odds with each other at the same time. And Andy, he's kind of wanting to fight humans and, fight for, to be free, essentially. Meanwhile, in Charlotte, North Carolina, Humans Today is, gathering, and we see at this summit is Senator Montez, who we've seen previously, who had very much high anti-mutant feelings. Well, Kate is, meeting with others, and some of the mutants are not very happy that she and her family are there, And, you know, because a lot of them don't trust them, you know, and she's kind of upset about this. Meanwhile, you know, Reed is, you know, still looking into his father's work, but he finds out that the Sentinel Services are going to go after his mother, Ellen Strucker, and, you know, go to her place of work. And, you know, she is working at an insurance agency, and the Sentinels are going to go there to find her and find a possible link to, you know, Otto's work and writings. Because there's still a lot that's missing that the, you know, Campbell especially needs, and so on. Eclipse, Polaris, Blink, and Thunderbird are led by the Cuckoos to a safe house, and they're setting up there because they want to find a way into the you know, Anti-Mutant Summit and take Campbell. While, you know, Esme is, you know, taunting Polaris and goading her, you know, and Polaris is, you know, getting very angry. While, you know, Struckers are heading towards to go to the grandmother, Ellen, and to, you know, take her out, and because they know that the Sentinel Services are after her. Meanwhile, Andy and Lauren they're still having difficulties and still arguing with each other about their powers and the use of their powers and how he wants to use it to, you know, fight the humans and, you know, so on. And she is reluctant about that, you know. And in the meantime, Ellen is learning about Otto, his past, how he was a mutant, and so on. Well, Polaris, Thunderbird, and the others are preparing to capture Franklin Bennett, who is one of the attendees of the summit, and they're going to capture him and use him to gain entry. Meanwhile, you know, Sentinel Services is ready to go to Ellen's place of work and to take her in. While, you know, the Struckers are, you know, herding her away, you know, two of the agents go up, and just as Andy and Lauren are just, you know, finished attacking each other because he has used his powers against the agents, and, you know, it's a very good scene here where, you know, Andy and Lauren, their powers kind of, you know, knock each other out, you know, and finally the Struckers are able to flee and get away safely. Meanwhile, you know, Montez is told about the Hound program by Campbell, but his assistant, she's very reluctant about this, you know, and she is kind of hesitant about this program, but Campbell, he's still pushing for it because he sees it as a way to, you know, fight back. As we saw with the Logan movie, again, with the Reavers, you know, the Hound program is clearly intended to be a precursor to that. Meanwhile, the mutants have, you know, Franklin Bennett held captive, and, you know, the Cuckoos are forcing him to aid them, you know, get them in as, you know, security for him. And the Cuckoos are very ready to torture him, and, you know, in order to get their way, and just for the sake of, you know, hurting someone. Eclipse and Thunderbird are suiting up and getting ready, and I really appreciated the Thunderbird shirtless scene here. That was very good. Anyways, but they're debating about their situation and, you know, what's, you know, going on. Thunderbird, he's ready to take action, but Eclipse, he's still reluctant. And meanwhile, Polaris and Blink, they're having a similar debate, you know, and I very much enjoyed that, two guys here are having one side of this debate, while these two are, having a different sort of debate, and for guys you get to see, Blank with her top off, and for girls and the rest of us, we get to see Thunderbird with his shirt off, and so on. Anyways, the Struckers have made it out, and Ellen remembers that her husband had talked to a researcher a very long time ago, and had gone on a trip with her, but she doesn't remember a lot about them, other than that this researcher's name was Madeline Resmond, and she was someone that actually saw Reed when he was young. And, Ellen is very sad about the truth and how she feels that she was unable to, take care of her son and, protect him. And this is a very touching scene. I really like this actress. She's best known on Cagney and Lacey. I know her best, well, many of us do, on, Queer as Folk, where she played a mother there, and did very well. She was very much a part of that series, and it's good to see her in this series, again, as a protective role, wanting to protect her son. Meanwhile, Ellen, is deciding to escape, just not with the rest of her family. She wants to head off with, and go live with a friend that she knows and hide out there. So she leaves them, and they're going to go back to the compound. She makes good her escape. Meanwhile, at the Mutant Summit, we have this great, moment where, Montez is speaking out before his followers, and they're all, against the mutants, and we have various people who have been debating the religious angle and, how this is like the pro-gun, anti-gun movements, excuse me. And, Montez, he's very much pro-human. He's, speaking out against the mutants, and he's endorsing Campbell's, action. He says he's going to set up laws to support him. Thunderbird is at this moment comforting Blank, and they show her a great moment together, and they kiss, and which is just very good to see them get together, and, kind of work out their differences, and come together like this. Meanwhile, Kate is comforting her kids after everything that happened. While, just trying to offer them comfort. Eclipse and Thunderbird, they confront Campbell, but he manages to avoid capture while the security attack. And that pretty much ended the 12th episode. Now, for the 13th and final episode of Season 1. It's called X-Roads. Of course, it means crossroads. But as I've mentioned with my first video, they try to work in the letter X with every single title for this season. I highly think that they're going to do it with Season 2. But that's perfectly fine. Hopefully, they won't run out of titles and so on because of that. Anyways, on X-Roads, or Crossroads, however you want to say it, we have mainly Polaris discovering, thinking about her past and how she decides to act and what she decides to do and how it's going to affect everyone else and forever change everything. And we're shown 4 years ago at the Lakeview hospital for, it's a mental hospital. And Polaris is there, and she's toying with, it looks like a coin, but very much looks like the symbol of, you know, the helmet of, you know, a certain mutant who happens to be her father. And it's a trinket that she got from him. And of course, as most of us see, it looks a lot like the horns on Magneto's helmet. Well, I'd show you an image, but, well, you know what? Well, I would show you. You know what? Hang on just a minute. I should have gotten this ready earlier, but I didn't, so just give me a moment here. Because this is very important. Almost there. Sorry about this, guys. But it's just very, very important. Because I can describe it, but it's just not the same. Here we go. It's basically, it looks very much like the horns of Magneto's helmet, and he's never named per se in the episode, but you know, Lorna Dane has been revealed to be his daughter in the comics. Actually, it's kind of gone back and forth over time, you know, whether or not she's his daughter, but you know, this one series is clearly going with the fact that she is. And again, you know, the little trinket that she's toying with very much looks like the horns on his helmet. Sorry about the delay, but it's just very important to show, you know, give you a visual idea of the, you know, what it looked like. Because, again, it's something, again, that's very keyed into with the comics. Anyways, she's confronted by Evangeline, who, you know, is a lawyer and knows all about her past. And it's revealed that Evangeline is a mutant herself, and is, you know, talking to her about a little bit about her past. Meanwhile, we're taken to the present, where Eclipse, Thunderbird, and Blink are escaping, and, you know, are aided by Polaris and Esme in making it away. But, you know, they have not managed to capture Campbell, and he has escaped them. Because he's going off with Montez in order to take action and, you know, put out the HOM program and, you know, essentially affect all the mutants. You know, meanwhile, Reed is, you know, with the others, and he's finding out how the mission failed, and Andy is still wanting to fight and face the humans, and he's very, you know, he's very upset. Agent Turner is using the hounds to track down the Struckers. He has one that's clairvoyant and the other that can detect organic molecules, and he's using these two hounds to track the Struckers from the, you know, insurance agency and so on. And Eclipse, with the others, go back to the safe house while Esme is clearly upset, and, you know, she's angry that they didn't achieve their goal. And Polaris, you know, she's also upset while she's remembering events of the past, and we're shown clips of this previous season with her. And, you know, excuse me, Polaris is very upset, and Eclipse is trying to comfort her, but she's still, just very much angry and so on. And Andy is also very upset, and he separates himself a bit from his family, wanting to stay out with some other people away from them for a bit. Lauren tries to comfort him, but he just shoves her off. Agent Turner is still on the trail, and he finds it leads to a contaminated area, and he is convinced this is where the mutants are and where they're holed up. And, Polaris, in the meantime, she's still being goaded and, confronted by Esme and kind of prodded by her, And, it's very clear that, she's very much upset, and, because of her, she's pregnant, and, Esme is, playing off her, and, she's, using her for, possibly for her own ends, but, to, act out. Anyways, the mutants are just now finding out that Sentinel services are coming to the compound, so everyone's right away ready to go into action and to escape, and some of them make it out, but a lot of the rest are just, they have to stay where they're put. While, Thunderbird and the others are, regrouping, they find out that Polaris has gone off and is going to go after Campbell. And Eclipse, he's very upset here, and it's very good scenes with him. I really much like this actor. I liked him, with the when he was on Reign. I have not yet seen him on the series Incorporated. He's a very good actor. I really enjoy him. Don't remember his name off the top of my head. But anyways, he does very, very well here. Polaris and the two Frost they're driving off, and they're ready to take action and take down Campbell. While meanwhile the Mutant Underground, they're packing up. Again, some have made it out, the rest are holed up, and they pretty much barricade themselves in. And because it's kind of too late, the Sentinel services is there. And, so they fortify the house and destroy, the computer systems and whatnot. Reed and his wife, they rally everyone, and they get everyone to go into action. Just as, Turner is, summoning the troops and ready to move in. So, Caitlin has some of the mutants go to the vault to attempt to break through there and, break through the walls there and use that as a means of escape. Meanwhile, Reed and some of the other mutants, they're going to defend the area and, keep off the Sentinels for a while. And we have some very great scenes here with this, essentially a siege here. While Turner is, heading in with the mutants, and, he's, having his agents move in, while Reed and the mutants are, defending their area and doing a quite good job of it. Meanwhile, Caitlin and the others are working hard at the wall, trying to break it down. Shatter has used his power to weaken it, and all during the meanwhile, Eclipse and the others, they're trying to hunt down Polaris, and who has again gone off with the Frost to finally stop Campbell. And Polaris, she's ready to take down extreme action. And again, Eclipse, he's just very worried, because he's worried what that sort of extreme action will take, and how it will affect everything. You know, Campbell and Montez, they're ready to board a plane and, you know, again, set up the Hound program on a national scale and do what they need to do, you know, back at Washington. You know, and Campbell, we have this brief moment where Campbell talks about his brother Jed, and we see very briefly how this really affected him and how genetics, you know, affected his brother and, you know, essentially killed his brother, you know, because of how genetics affected him. But Campbell makes it out, you know, is still around because genetics favored him. And, you know, so for him, it's a genetics thing that it favors some people and doesn't favor others. And it feels to him, I feel, that, you know, mutants are, you know, being favored, but are a force that are going to replace, you know, normal humans. You know, he feels, I think. Meanwhile, you know, Turner, you know, is still moving in. His troops have failed in their first attack. This time, Turner is going to go in with hounds. And it's hounds that we've seen earlier. Basically, the ones that took down a building by, you know, being joined together and using their powers. And they're forcing their way in just as the mutants in the vault take down the wall. So, you know, Reed and the others flee as the, you know, through the vault and are making good their escape, while Andy and Lauren, they're ready to take action and use their powers. So the hounds break in, and Andy and Lauren, they join hands and they completely take down the whole building. But that also means taking down the hounds as well, you know. And, you know, we've seen, meanwhile, Polaris is at the airport where, again, Campbell and the Senator are, and Eclipse finally comes in and you know, confronts her, and, you know, she's all angry and she's ready to stop Eclipse and anyone who's gonna get in her way of stopping Campbell. You know, they beg with her, they plead with her, but she still wants to take action. And, you know, she does so, and, you know, it's just what a terrible thing it was. Because, as Eclipse says, she's, you know, it's just not Campbell and Montez she's acting against. It's about everybody on that plane who are essentially innocent, you know, and have nothing to do with this situation. You know, yes, Campbell is not a great guy. In the past episode, he used a group of kids in order to escape. But, you know, Polaris, she's just frustrated, and she's ready to make her new world. And, you know, she takes down the plane and crashes it. And effectively kills Campbell and the center. And, you know, again, it was just a terrible sight, you know, just, you know, because on the one hand, you're celebrating that this villain has been taken down, but, you know, you realize partly that Eclipse was right, because, you know, the stewardesses, the pilots, you know, who knows where they stand on this issue. And they're killed off, you know, just because Polaris took this drastic action. And as soon as she does so, she's gone. Meanwhile, in Tennessee, the mutants are regrouping. You know, Eclipse, Polaris, Thunderbird, they're there, and they're gathering with the others, you know, while the Struckers are together. You know, Andy and Lauren, they're still recuperating, and while Reed is, you know, he's glad everyone's safe, pretty much. Turner, he's highly berated by his bosses, and, you know, because of how the mission went, they're ready to hang him out to dry. So he flat out quits. And, you know, we don't know what action's gonna future holds for them, but you know, he's done with the Sentinel services basically. Meanwhile, you know, the Thunderbird and the others, they're thinking about their next action. You know, Eclipse, he wants to rebuild, but others are worried that, you know, the humans are just going to tear down whatever they put up. You know, they're kind of tired of fighting and running and, you know, hiding. You know, and just at this moment, Polaris and Esme step in, and Polaris is ready to build a new world, and take drastic measures. They're there to take whoever wants to go with them. So the mutants are essentially divided. You know, some of the mutants go with Polaris, Esme, and they leave, while some of the mutants stay with Eclipse and the others. And, you know, it's a very good scene here where we see, you know, everyone's divided in their opinion. You know, many don't feel safe, that they're always going to be running until they're ready to take extreme action. Some are even blaming the Struckers. You know, you're the cause of all this. Because of you, everything's falling apart. You know, but as Reed points out, you know, even if it wasn't because of us, these events would have still happened. You know, the Campbell would still be doing his thing, Sentinels would still be doing their thing, Sentinel services, I should say. Anyways, Polaris takes some of them off, and Andy goes with them. He's also done with, you know, and he wants to go into extreme action. So Andy leaves with Polaris, and they are walking away while the rest are there, and we're left with the final shot of just Eclipse, you know, essentially broken, you know, and just sad in spirit. You know, he's just watching them go, and we feel, you know, his concern here, because he knows when you take extreme measures, it has heavy consequences. When you do this sort of action, like taking on the plane, it's going to affect everything. It's going to lead into extreme consequences. And, you know, again, this is the sort of thing that is very much, you know, a precursor to the Logan movie, you know, I feel that a lot of the series is building up to the events that we see in the Logan. You know, at what point Gifted is in the time frame of the X-Men history, we're not, you know, in relation to Logan, we're not sure. It seems very much that Gifted is present day, as in the 2017-2018. You know, and at what point Logan is, it's still somewhere in the future, but we're not sure where. You know, again, you know, is Logan, you know, 50 years off, you know, or what, you know, because granted, the professor and so on look older there. But anyways, altogether, I have really, really enjoyed Gifted. You know, that's why I wanted to do this. You know, I started just making just short summary reviews on Facebook. I decided to upload videos about it because I've really enjoyed this series. You know, in terms of superhero shows, Arrow, Flash, and Superhero, those are my shows. You know, I've already mentioned that, you know, I like Legends, but, you know, it's sometimes the writing. I've just recently checked out Black Lightning, which, you know, I've enjoyed and have been looking forward to. Some of that, you know, I'm a little not sure of, but I'm, you know, want to give that series a chance. This series, again, it's been very enjoyable, and, you know, I look forward to Season 2. And how Season 2 will act with the whole Fox Disney thing, we don't know. You know, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I apologize about its lateness. And, you know, I hope that you guys have enjoyed all these videos. And if I were to do more on Season 2, I hope you guys would enjoy those as well. Anyways, take care, guys.